Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're opening up the blueprint of a highly structured and honestly incredibly rigid decentralized finance platform called TBI Nexus AI. The way it pitches itself is as this flawless, automated ecosystem that is governed entirely by unbending code. So we're going to look exactly at how the mechanics of this whole system are built. To figure out how this complex, multi-layered system claims to work, we're breaking it down into 5 key pillars. We've got an introduction to Nexus AI, the strict smart contract rules, the matrix income structure, the passive auto-run systems, and finally, the fair flow daily ROI. Section 1. Introduction to Nexus AI, Code as Law.
Now, what's really interesting about this setup is the core technology they're relying on. At its absolute foundation, this system operates on the Polygon blockchain using what's called a smart contract. You can think of a smart contract kind of like a digital vending machine. Once it's programmed and deployed, it literally cannot be altered. It just automatically processes real-time USDT payouts directly into users' wallets. And the major pitch here? Absolutely no human administrator is behind the scenes pulling the levers.
So this operates entirely in the world of DeFi, or decentralized finance. The source defines this as an ecosystem running completely without central authorities or middlemen. The presenter actually pitches this as a flawless alternative to traditional multi-level marketing, simply because the code doesn't sleep, it doesn't make mistakes, and it tirelessly executes the exact rules it was given.
Section 2. Strict smart contract rules, compliance, and confiscation.
Well, because that code cannot be reasoned with, the system enforces some really rigid, automated discipline on its users. The presentation outlines 5 incredibly strict rules, and these are monitored by countdown timers that literally start ticking the exact second you sign up. You've got to activate your account every 30 days, no cross-lining or changing teams, no sharing private keys, and no joint accounts. But get this, there is also a strict ban on complaining about or attacking the system. It is a digital ecosystem with absolute zero tolerance for dissent.
So, the crucial point is, what happens if a user actually breaks one of these rules, including, the rule against complaining? The source material is brutally clear here, stating, your benefits will be suspended immediately and your assets confiscated without any possibility of appeal. These confiscated funds purportedly go right into a public pool to benefit the community, not the creators. But remember, because this is an automated smart contract, there is no customer service desk you can call up to argue your case. If the code flags you, your assets are just gone.
Section 3. The matrix income structure, active recruitment.
Okay, so with those strict boundaries set, the platform starts generating its numbers with an active matrix structure. Users actively build downlines to move through 5 distinct tiers. Ranks 1 through 3, which cost 10, 50, and 250 USDT, feature a mandatory auto upgrade. Basically, as your matrix fills up, the system automatically takes your earnings to push you higher. Now, ranks 4 and 5 are completely optional, though the speaker heavily pushes upgrading to maximize your position. Let's see how this builds, because as the funds come in, the source details how 85% of that money is distributed upward through 4 levels of a user's network. Your first level pays out 5%, the second level pays 10%, and the third pays 20%. But the real carrot on the stick here is level 4, which pays out a massive 50%. Though, to be fair, the system does enforce mandatory holdbacks on some of these slots to auto-reinvest and keep the gears turning.
However, there is a very deliberate mechanical bottleneck programmed right into this. A minimum of 2 direct recruits is required to unlock that lucrative level 4 income. It's a programmed rule that ensures users can't just sit back. It strictly enforces ongoing active recruitment before anyone can access the system's heaviest payouts. Section 4. Passive auto-run systems, the global queue.
But what about users who just don't want to recruit? Well, the presentation outlines a really distinct split in the platform's design. On one side, you have the active matrix structure we just talked about, requiring personal team building. But on the other side is the auto-run structure. This is essentially a passive global waiting line. The smart contract automatically assigns downlines chronologically, completely regardless of your own recruiting efforts. It effectively separates the active workers from the passive investors.
Now, the financial plumbing of this passive auto-run system is quite specific. 90% of the funds moving through the auto-run are paid out to the users waiting in that queue. But crucially, the remaining 10% gets siphoned off into what they call the fair flow pool. And this 10% tax is exactly what feeds the final most prominently advertised feature of the entire platform.
Section 5. Fair Flow Daily ROI.
the claimed returns.
And this leads us to the mechanism they describe as the back plan. The central claim of this fair flow system is a promised daily return of exactly 0.72%, which, if you know compounding, is a massive figure over a year. The source material maintains that the system draws this daily payout directly from that 10% community pool we just mentioned, a pool that, at the time of the presentation, purportedly held over $35,000 just waiting to be distributed.
So, according to the code's programmed rules, a purely passive investor, meaning someone who enters the fair flow system and recruits absolutely no one, is scheduled to receive the 0.72% daily payouts for a very specific window, a maximum of 181 days.
And this brilliantly illustrates the system's hard cap. The payouts don't just go on forever. Once an account reaches exactly 130% of its initial investment, the payout cycle automatically terminates. It doesn't actually matter if you hit that 130% slowly over 181 days of passive returns, or if you hit it rapidly through active recruitment bonuses. Once you hit the cap, boom, your investment round is over.
To keep that public payout pool artificially sustained, and to prevent sudden capital flight, the source describes an automated anti-whale withdrawal mechanism. When a user actually goes to withdraw their earnings, they only receive 70% to their wallet. The remaining 30%? That's a mandatory auto-reinvest. The smart contract locks it and cycles it right back into the system, forcing users to continuously refeed the liquidity pool for everybody else.
We've unpacked a lot of intricate layers from the TBI Nexus AI presentation today, which really leaves us with a compelling question. Does an unchangeable smart contract guarantee a truly fair financial ecosystem, or does it simply execute a rigid, mathematically inevitable structure flawlessly? It's a fascinating look into how decentralized finance concepts are being engineered and marketed today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.